Hello, good morning, Gary Champion, psychic medium once again. This morning we're going to talk about crats, C-R-A-T-S. I woke up this morning hearing um, Autocrat. Didn't know what it meant. Uh, it's not someone who drives a car badly. And I know it has political connections because that's what they said, political connections. Um, An autocrat is someone who rules by having wealth or controls things by money and is a member of a elite ruling class that all have money. So autocrat is I took notes or I wouldn't screw this up. An autocrat is a ruler who rules by absolute power. That's what it is. Who do we have like that? Well, there's a bunch of them around the world. Um, Autocrat. He has absolute power. I'm going to say probably given to him by the people he's ruling. They allowed it to happen. Who has centuries of that? Well, the Russians do. Russians have never had a democracy. The closest they came was when they had Gorbachev. I can't even write his name, but he was the one that had glasnost, a Russian word for openness. And that's when the Russia's country just collapsed, 1980 or somewhere around there. They didn't have any money. The wall came down in Berlin. Big disaster for them. And they had the czars before that for centuries, just a ruling class simply because they had the money and they could make it stick. Plus, they had had centuries of being told what to do. Comes to find out that they probably like it, otherwise they still wouldn't have it. Most countries have ditched that. Why? Because you can't give one person all that power. Who's in control there now? Putin. He's an autocrat. He rules by absolute power that is invented. It's not real. He may say he was voted in, but no one really votes. And anybody who opposes him usually ends up with a dose of ricin or some horrible poison. So anybody that says anything bad about him, and they're not opposed to reaching out around the world. They went to Britain to kill one a couple of years ago. I think he survived, but they have a long history of poisoning people who don't like Putin, who's an autocrat. Someone's saying he's scared right now because his country is in the worst shape it's been. I mean, since the collapse of USSR used to be a lot of countries, and when they lost their power, the Russians, the economy, their coinage wasn't worth anything. All these little groups became independent countries. So it's called Russia now. USSR, Soviet. Anyway, the little satellite things are gone. It's just Russia with very little power, very little money, and low standing in the world because they tend to attack people when they can, which is something they've always done. This is not something new. It's just easy to catch someone killing people in Crimea, just attaching it, and then they're still on an ongoing campaign against Ukraine. So they've had sanctions put on them. It's historically important because when they had the sanctions put on them for selling oil and all the crap they were doing, the country just disappeared really on the world scene. And that's why Trump was trying to get, Putin was trying to get Trump elected because Trump said, hey, I'll get you out of this mess. I'll take these sanctions off if you help me get elected. And this is all on the public record. I'm not making this up, but that's basically what happened. That's why there was an all hands there. Now, Putin is an autocrat, but Trump is a plutocrat. Told you we're going to talk about crats today. There's really, in Russia, there's no way to repair the damage that's been done. There's just no way to do it without coming clean about everything and apologizing and changing tactics, which the Russians have never done. So Putin's concerned about his autocracy, democracy, plutocracy, autocracy. That makes my tongue hurt. I'm thinking crats aren't a good thing. Crats are just a bad idea. Crats, rats, kind of close. And then we come to Trump, who has this thing with Putin, or did, synergy. They were drawn to each other because they're both power people. And Trump's always slapped people into line with money. He'd stick them with a lawsuit, and he'd make them sign one of those non-disclosure things, threaten to sue them, on and on and on and on. And used his plutocratic friends who wanted to see him there, use their money to get in. And quite frankly, we were asleep at the wheel. Everybody who voted, you were asleep at the wheel. Most of these people. Some people believed the hype. Other people knew better. He has a long history, six bankruptcies, and the man's going to be sued until his entire family disappears for things he said and done. There's a long list of them, and his attempt to get out from underneath them is saying, I'm the president, I can't be sued, which is unconstitutionally wrong. You can be sued for egregious behavior even as president. It didn't stop Dick Nixon from getting, and he lied and lied and lied. He used the same thing. I'm above the law. I'm the president, and it didn't work out too well for him. It's not going to work too well for Trump because his problems have multiplied because the lawyers he's hired to sue these people to shut them up have not been paid in many cases. And so these lawsuits are going to be dropped because the lawyers are going to ask to be withdrawn from the case because they're not being paid, which is their legal right. It's all going to come, someone's saying, all going to come tumbling down. Okay. So that's my Krat story this morning. Autocrat, that's Putin, a dastardly, ill. And they're saying brain surgery, like there must be something wrong with his brain. I'm not sure what that is. There's a leak in his brain of some kind. He has a slow leak of some kind. But he'll be ruler of Russia because there's no way to vote him out. He controls everything. He either kills or maims those who are running in office against him. And those that say anything bad, they get killed too. Unless the people themselves rise up and say, we don't want this anymore. We'd like to go out there and take our skills and brains and make a living out there in the world. And that's what Gorbachev was trying to do, was trying to bring them into at that time, the 20th century as a democracy. Didn't work too well. Because why? Russian people prefer one ruler, which is no different than the 14th century, where the king and queen ran everything and you did what they told you to do or it was off with your head. We have a choice in America. I have to go. You know, George Jetson has always fascinated me because in the opening of the Jetson cartoon, he would fly in, he would go in, and he would press that red button all day long. It's all he had on his desk was a red button. And then he would, I'm exhausted, and he would go home. We just have to do that once, and the long nightmare will be over. I feel for Russia. I really do. Because I don't have anything against people at all. I don't think, but someone once said, some really smart person said, you get the government that you deserve. And in our case, I'm not sure that's true, except we made one stupid mistake. Stupid. Dumb. But we can correct it, which is already on its way. Autocrat, plutocrat. It's too much power in one person's hand either way. And the attempt to distort the Constitution to get what you want and make up laws that don't exist it's going to end in a disaster. Now, Russia has things that can't be repaired. They've gone down this thing so far with the nuclear disaster, Chernobyl, and all these other things because they don't line their reactors with lead. We always do that, but you see, there's so much damage there that can accrue that just can't be repaired. It's in the water system, it's in the food system. We have a choice here. We've sustained some damage that's not repairable. I guess you can guess what that is. People are dead. Had we reacted quickly and correctly, although many countries didn't, but had we, being the leader of the free world, as we're supposed to say we are, had we taken this bull by the horns and wrestled him to the ground, we wouldn't be in this problem. We wouldn't have all these deaths. And they're directly attributed to one man and one party that did everything they could do to say it didn't exist. It wasn't real. It's a fantasy. It'll disappear like a miracle someday. I mean, there's like 1,000 films of him saying stuff that scientifically doesn't make sense. And I'm not a scientist, but it all sounds wrong to me. Anyway, autocracy, plutocracy, autocrat, plutocrat. I'm thinking crats are not good. It's up to you. No fear, no regret, no anger. Thanks for watching.